All right. All right, guys, go ahead and find your seats. Find your seats, find your seats. I love this. This is great. Man, it's good to be together this morning. If we haven't met yet, I'm Kyle. I'm the pastor here, and honored that you take some time to be with us. So just as a clarification, especially if you're new with us, this is going to be kind of a weird series that we're going through. Each year we try to pick one or two cultural conversations to just engage in, because there's just real life stuff happening that sometimes we need to talk about. And so over the next 4 weeks, we're just going to be looking at just the reality of kind of how digital media has changed the landscape as we know it. If you guys are not aware of this, we're in the midst of living through the biggest communication shift in 500 years. It's basically the revolution of the internet, the power computer that everybody carries around with them. I mean, there's more computing power in the phone in your pocket than there was in the computers that put men on the moon in 1969. That's a real thing, which is crazy to think about. And but yeah, it's just that's the world that we're living in, and the rapid change that has happened has had an effect on us. And so we just need to engage with that today. And so as a church, one of the ways we're responding to this is that over the month of August, we're actually doing a digital media fast together. And just like Rex shared, we're fasting to feasting. The vision of this is that it's about cultivating a hunger for God together. So just really quickly, just some clarifications. This is not an anti-technology gathering. As you notice, I'm using my phone to project the slides here on the thing. We don't hate technology. We just want to critically engage with it. And so we're not suggesting that you throw away your smartphone. We're not suggesting that you do a digital media fast for the rest of your life, right? And we're not suggesting that you abandon your work or family responsibilities, right? This isn't like, oh, so much of my work is on my phone, so I just told my boss, like, religious reasons, no. That is not what we're doing, okay? All right? Even so I'm sure that'd be nice. It's like, hey, my pastor says I can't work during August. Yeah, that's not what we're talking about. So today, we just want to look at a promise from Jesus that has both negative and positive connotations. And we want to look at some of the negative connotations and how Jesus drops us like right into this enchanted world that we live in. And because we oftentimes are in this conversation of like how disenchanted everything is, and we're always trying to figure out scientific realities, some of which have been very good, sometimes we need to re-enchant what's happening, and Jesus has a way of waking us up out of that. So today we're gonna look at John 10:10. So this is going to be where we hang our hats today. Jesus' claim is that the thief, or the devil, or the Satan, the accuser, comes only to steal and kill and destroy. Jesus says, I have come that they may have life, and life to the full. So I was not rich enough to afford the first iPhone when it came out, but I probably would have mortgaged my house to get it. I was an early adopter. And my girlfriend then, who then became my wife, because she got me an iPod Touch. Some of you guys are old enough to know what that is. That's like a phone that doesn't have any phone capabilities, but has all the other capabilities. And this is the original iPhone. And now, obviously, some of you are Android users, at least two of you. And it's a joke. I think in this crowd, it's probably mostly Android. All right. Anyways, this is not a survey, all right? Just chill out, everybody. Okay. All right. So we've had 15 iterations since then. Obviously, Android phones are way cooler, and they have bigger screens. And some of you have the ones that fold open. Like it's like something. It's like this beautiful thing that's happening as you unfold it. So this is the reality that we're living in. And today I want to talk about this vision from FOMO to JOMO. What do I mean by that? FOMO is obviously this constant thing. You guys are aware of this, I'm sure, because you're so connected to internet culture. But FOMO is the fear of missing out, which drives so much of the anxiety that we sometimes feel about like the things that are happening that we're not aware of. And so I would just like to say that this month we're going to embrace the joy of missing out. Because there are some things that we need to be missing out on. And so again, we want to look at these three words from John's gospel together: to steal, to kill, and destroy. And we want to break apart this vision of how Satan uses different things in our life to accomplish what his mission statement is. So our mission statement, make fully reproducible followers of Jesus in the everyday stuff of life. The reason that we want to do that is because we believe Jesus' promise is that he comes to give life and the fullness of life. The Satan also has a mission statement. His mission statement is to steal, kill, and destroy. This is not like new information, but we need to be aware of how he uses the different things in our life to accomplish some of these things. So the first word is steal. The Greek word for that is klepto. Everybody knows where we get the word kleptomania now, right? We all have heard this word before. It's to steal or to filch. You can look that up later. To secretly steal. What is the devil trying to secretly steal by utilizing digital media? Well, the first thing is this: time and attention. Time and attention. He is constantly utilizing the tech that we have to drive us into spending more and more time and give more and more of our attention to things that sometimes, frankly, don't matter. And at worst, are actually just plain evil. Right? And Ephesians, the Apostle Paul encourages the church in Ephesus that they should have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. And that's part of what we're trying to do over the next 4 weeks. Think about things like this: clickbait. I'm sure that you guys know this by now, but it's not a secret that other governments interfere with our election cycles by creating and using misinformation to try to reach out to people to get them upset at the other party where there's no basis of truth in these things. And news companies who are more interested in their bottom line than actually getting the news out have utilized this mechanism to keep people engaged. And things like social media and algorithmic news cycles have created this monster of clickbait. You've all seen it. You've all watched at least one or two videos that's like, in the next 10 minutes, I'll tell you how you can have the life that you were looking for by buying this group of mushrooms that's only available through me. Maybe your algorithm's not that, but maybe it's like, some other like book that somebody's going to give you about how you can save all of your cans to prepare for the blackout that's coming. Anyways, the point is that these things are clickbaits. They are marketing that is designed to drive us into a funnel and to keep our attention and time engaged. Back to the time and attention thing, these things were created and they brought scientists in that helped work on slot machines to make these things. This is not an accident that you feel this compulsion to reach for this thing. One of the ways that I want to encourage you to decrease your attention towards your phone is to simply do this. Make it in black and white. It's really boring to look at. You can change it in the settings. You can look into it later. But the point is that we're trying to move our attention away from these things. We're turning our eyes from looking at worthless things and give me life in your ways. This is Psalm 119, a beautiful psalm about just the incredible nature of the Word of God. And so we have a tendency to get kind of trapped in these things. And I just want to encourage you that this is not just some shame fest. This is by design. These things are by design, designed to steal your attention. Most people are spending 5 to 6 hours on their phone on a daily basis. That's a lot of time. Yeah, you can just look at your screen time later. There's a setting on your phone that records your screen time. It tells you how long you've been playing Candy Crush. I just talked to somebody that was playing lots of solitaire. They had no idea how much solitaire they were playing. 45% of teens say that they are now online in a near constant basis. Teens, young adults, can I talk to you guys for just a second? So there's this thing that they say about you guys. They call you digital natives. They call the rest of us digital immigrants, which is interesting because we didn't grow up with this. We moved into it later, so we're still trying to learn the language. But you guys, you're here. And this appendage, it's like everything is just digital. But I just want to encourage you that even though that's true for you, it doesn't necessarily mean that that has made you into a well-rounded person. I don't know if maybe some of you are too young to know this, but some people really focus on arms a lot in the gym, and then they have really skinny legs, right? This is what happens in our digital native environment. See, actually, God has created you to love him with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. So we are all heart, soul, mind, strength complexes. And the digital environment does not engage with all of those areas. And so that's why sometimes the older people in your life are like, you got to just get some friends, IRL, They're trying so hard to speak to you about the stuff. But let me just encourage you that there is something that can be malforming about being a digital native. And so I just want to encourage you to also enter into this with your parents. How many people in the world have a smartphone? 87% of the world's population has a smartphone. That's wild. It shouldn't shock us. And so everyone is subjected to this algorithmized everything now. Catherine Price, in her book, How to Break Up with Your Phone, says if you wanted to invent a device that could rewire our minds, if you wanted to create a society of people who were perpetually distracted, isolated, and overtired, if you wanted to weaken our memories and damage our capacity for focus and deep thought, if you wanted to reduce empathy, encourage self-absorption, redraw the lines of social etiquette, you'd likely end up with a smartphone. Again, I just want you to consider that the thief comes only to secretly steal our time and attention. And we're taking a pause because we want to critically engage with this thing. We're not trying to create some new Amish community where we don't accept any technological advances, right? But I want us to critically think about how these things are affecting us. The second thing is that the devil comes to steal, to kill, to slay, to slaughter. This is his mission statement. This is why 1 Peter, in encouraging the church, says you should be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, he prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. There has been an increase because of cyberbullying in people literally hurting themselves to the point where they need hospitalization. In a major study that was conducted over the United States, Turkey, the United Kingdom, and China, found that the more exposure, a direct link of causation, the more exposure a person has to social media, the more likely they are to experience anxiety, depression, social anxiety, low self-esteem, narcissism, insomnia, and decreased sleep. Listen, I'm not like a prophet by any means, but I think that as more and more data comes out, we may be getting to a point where we start to view social media like we do smoking. where everyone used to smoke on the plane. Just imagine. Got my little baby on my lap, just smoking a pack on the plane on the way to Atlanta with the TW. Anyways, obviously there were some problems with that, but we just culturally accepted this. But then eventually we begin to find out this is not good for you. I just want to encourage you, especially you parents that are raising digital natives, social media is not a net positive for people. There is tons of data to show this. And some of you young people are like, why did my parents come to church today? I don't want none of this stuff. I just want to encourage you. Listen, as a pastor, my role is to do everything I can to protect and to love you guys. And so these things, they may feel like super annoying and that your parents might try to impose some kind of media fast, but I just want to encourage you, this is to your detriment. It is hurting you. The thief comes again to secretly kill, to secretly steal, to kill, and to destroy. To destroy. To perish, to take away life. That is his vision and mission statement. He wants to destroy a flourishing life that is promised to us by Jesus. Listen, you may have come in today and you may have thought, before this, at least in your mind and the way that you've seen Christian act, that actually it's Jesus that comes to destroy a flourishing life. And I just want to let you know that, according to the scriptures, this is the oldest trick in the book. The original thing that happens is that God has given humans everything and then some. And then the devil comes along and he says, actually, you would be like God if you just did these things. Then you could truly have a flourishing life. And so I just want to encourage you. This is the reality that things are set in. And you may start to feel like this is too good to be true. And I want to say it sounds that way because it sounds like every fairy tale you've ever heard. And I want to encourage you, why do you think that is? Jesus is truly that good. He has come to give us life and abundant life. That's what he is after. And so the devil wants to secretly steal our time and attention. He wants to kill us in every way that we can, and he wants to destroy the flourishing life that we might have in Jesus. Again, we should commit this to memory. The thief comes only to secretly steal, to kill, and destroy a flourishing life. I have come that they may have life, and life to the full. So listen, how can you engage with us in this? Now, we started this just a couple days ago, all right? My encouragement is let's just all jump in together and do this. The first thing is make your smartphone dumb. What do we mean by that? You think about it as distraction versus utility, right? Your phone is an instrument. Again, we're not super anti-technology here. You could go home today and you could write the next great symphony on your computer. That's incredible, okay? That's an incredible tool. It's an incredible instrument. But you could also go home today and you could watch 8 or 9 hours of cat videos and forget that you actually have a cat, that you haven't seen in a while. You're not sure where he is. But he's probably doing something really interesting. So, yeah, that's what we're talking about. So you can think about it, distraction. Email, right? Listen, I know some of us, we have bills that come into our email. Email is a real thing that we use. It's like the real mail now. But how often do you check your real mail? You checking it 10, 15, 20 times a day? I don't think so. There's something algorithmic that's been kind of built into us. We got to keep our inbox at 0. Not every 10 minutes you don't. That's weird, right? Make some specific handles. The way you can do that is by just deleting email off your phone so that you only go to your computer to check it, and you only do it a little bit. Social media. We've already talked about that. We're going to talk more about that a little bit next week and some of the research that's come out recently in Jonathan Haidt's new book, The Anxious Generation. But it is a net negative, and you need a break. Just delete it. I would say delete it from your phone for sure, but I would just encourage you not to use it in general during this time. news apps, because again, everything is now churning from algorithms. The whole thing is designed to keep you on there as long as you can. So they're going to feed you news articles that are going to make you upset. It's by design. Delete it. Games, web browser, YouTube video apps, Amazon, and shopping. These are just distractions. They're distractions. Utility, things like phone, texting people that you love. We're not saying don't do that. Your calendar, some of us, we need that. We're not going to make it to our next appointment if we don't. Airline apps for you frequent flyer people. You need these things. Building and garage access, camera, weather. These things are utilities. They're not distraction. Another thing that you could do, maybe, you won't be able to do this like this week, but this is an example of a smart, dumb phone that they're now making as a reaction against all the smartphones having all these like gambling pieces built in. I think this is an early version of a Wise phone. They have a new one coming out soon. So again, these are just some ways that you can begin to think about these things. Eliminate all other screens for personal use. Just get them out of there. Cut off TV. And I just want to encourage you, like my family, we did this together during Lent this year. And you think that it's the kids that are going to freak out about this. It's the adults. I'll just tell you, all right? The kids just react, and they're fine. After like a week, they're like, I feel great. And as an adult, you're just like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. Go somewhere else, Listen, eliminate all your other screens for personal use. I just want to encourage you. We have a compulsion whenever we are bored to make it just like go away. Embrace some boredom in this time. Just discover again how much time you have. Really. Limit digital technology to only work apps during work hours. I don't know about you guys, but the lines for when work hours are have become increasingly blurry. Super blurry. We together have given up on this idea of work when it's work. We've collectively decided that everyone is now working all the time. This is exhausting. Nobody needs that. And so try to communicate with your boss. Listen, I'm not saying that, some of us, we have to answer emails, right? But I would just push back a little bit, I will get to that in the morning. Cal Newport, in his book, Digital Minimalism, which I highly recommend, says there are two motivations for taking a 30-day break. The first is to detox from the compulsive urge to tap a screen or turn one on at the slightest hint of boredom. We need that together. We got to detox. It's difficult, this is the reason, it's difficult to think clearly about your digital life while you feel an addictive pull to its algorithmically optimized charms. The second purpose to this long duration, however, is arguably more important, which is this: to get back in touch with what you actually value. The alluring noise emanating from our phones provides an easy distraction from the bigger questions about what really matters. Guys, don't think about it as the negative. Think about 5 or 6 hours that you now have to do something else. What is that thing that you wish you could do if you only have time? I just want to suggest that we are busier than we've ever been, but the output of our society is at a low. We feel busy, but we have neglected to actually make things. So we could rediscover that together. This is the end of the quote. What do we want to do with our limited time here on earth? I think for most of us, the answer is not solitaire, right? No one sets out to make that their goal. But this month-long reprieve provides the space that's needed to revisit these questions. and through both self-reflection and experimentation, form some tentative answers. Listen, I want to encourage you because we are entering into this time together to take a pause, and I want to do everything that I can to help us as over the next several weeks to figure out what does it look like on the other side of this. How do we critically re-engage with these things, but try to set up some appropriate boundaries because we now have a different vision for what we really want to do with that time. And I want to encourage you, what we're doing here is resistance. Resistance. The vision that is given in Ephesians after all this triumphant language from the Apostle Paul about how we're now co-heirs with Christ in God and that one day he will subject everything under the feet of Christ. It's very, very triumphant. It's a beautiful, beautiful talk to a church that's struggling and in the midst of it. At the end of that chapter, he talks, at the end of the whole book, in Ephesians 6, he gives this vision of the armor of God. And he talks about all these things that we got to put on. We've got faith, we've got the belt of truth, and the feet that are ready to take the gospel anywhere. And then, it sounds like you're getting super ready for some kind of offense. And then you know what he says? Stand. Just stand. You put on all that armor to stand. And the idea is this, is that the cultural current that we are in at the moment is just crazy, guys. The riptide will pull the best of us down in there and suck away all of our time and attention and pull it away from the real life that we actually want in Jesus. And so it's about resistance. That's what we're trying to do together, is to resist so that we can carefully re-engage with these things together and think critically about them. With that, I just want to take some time to just invite the Spirit. What is He revealing to you today? What changes do you need to make going home? And for some of you that have maybe started this fast already with us, what is He showing you through the Scriptures as you begin to read through those? And I want to challenge you, if you're not doing this with us, that we're trying to read through the New Testament in 30 days, which sounds like, oh my gosh, that sounds like so much reading. It's really not. That's the crazy thing. It takes about a half hour. I'd say 40 minutes if you're going slow. It really doesn't take that much time. But the thing is that so often we're trapped in this vision of the finite amount of time that we have. So how can we resist together? So with that, let's just invite the Spirit to speak to us. If you feel comfortable with this, we just put our hands out before the Lord and we just pray this prayer to just invite the Spirit to speak. Come, Holy Spirit.